the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you up in section 330. Whoa. We are live right now on Rip City Radio and YouTube, and the very first comment on the YouTube stream is from Han in King City. He says, "What in the world is going on? What in the world is going on?" The whole time, like, I'm sitting there in Meteor Row, I felt like Stu in The Hangover when he's in the back of the police car when they're at the little chapel and the guys are Chow's guys are coming to get him, and he's like, "What the heck is going on?" Like, that's how I felt right now, because exactly what in the heck is going on? The Blazers come out tonight and they get the job done against the Orlando Magic, grabbing a 119-290 victory over the Orlando Magic. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Sometimes you're just at a loss for words. This game was something else, man. You got to absolutely enjoy it. I posted on social at one point. I said, "Who gives?" or I said, "This expletive." I don't curse on the socials, but I did. I said this poo emoji is way too fun to give a darn about the tank. Way too fun. I know people. We talked about this all over, right? Oh no, now you're losing lottery balls and you can't get Cooper Flag. Who cares? Who cares? I know you all care. I know you do. But man, I am not going to poo-poo it when the game looks this good. They go out and they beat the Bucks. They come out. They get a win over the Magic. They have now won 6 of their last 7. And yes, some of those wins were against the Magic and the Hornets, and you know what? 2 of them against the Magic. But the Magic aren't a bad team. They aren't a bad team. They can go get it done. And the Blazers, man, they just answered. They are just answering the call right now. And I asked Coach Billups about it in the post-game presser, and you'll hear it when we get to the coach's corner. But you look at this team right now, right? And we played the audio for you guys in the pregame about Denny Avdia, and he's doing the John Cena, "You can't see me," when he gets the and ones. Well, he got a couple of those tonight, and he does it. He looks over to the bench with a big smile. He does the "you can't see me." The bench does it back. They're all standing up. They're laughing. They're having fun. They put Ryan Rupert in late in the game. He gets a good Euro step, gets the shot up, makes the bucket, and you look over to the bench, and everybody on the bench is up and laughing, and DeAndre Ayton is mimicking the Euro step going down the baseline. It's like this team right now is having the most fun and is playing the most loose and free that it feels like they have played all year long. And as Coach was talking about, it's like sometimes it takes time to build that, and this team is finally there, and it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice to see. Again, I know people want the tank, and for those of you who are still on Team Tank, I understand. I'm not gonna knock you for that. But you know what? They look good. They look good. As people are talking about Scoot. Has Scoot figured it out? Yeah, man. You put him back in the starting lineup. What's he do tonight? 23 points, 7 assists. He had 3 turnovers. 2 of them were back-to-back. One of them was trying to save a ball that was going out of bounds. That one made sense. Right after that, the second one was a miscommunication with Toumani Camara in the corner. He thought Toumani was going to stay in the corner through the pass, but Toumani cut. And, that was a turnover. But overall, it was a good game. And I do think defensively, man, he's really, really starting to play good, and he's playing better, man. It's phenomenal. We'll get to the box score when it's all said and done, but this game was interesting because you look around at fans, man, and the Magic started this game on a 10-0 run. It was 10-0 right out the gate, and you didn't know what was going to happen. You're like, uh-oh, the fun vibes of that win against Milwaukee are already done. Toumani hit the first bucket for the team at the 8:30 mark, so at that point it was 10-2. That's 10-2. Right? And the Blazers, they go on a 15-8 run. A 15-8 run. It's 18-15 Orlando. Ayton was on fire. He had 10 points in the first quarter, and the Magic had the first quarter lead. Okay, so you're sitting there and you're like, okay, what can Portland do? It's 35-28 after 1. That second quarter, the Blazers flipped this whole thing on their head. They locked in defensively, and Orlando could not get anything going. Portland at one point was on if it's a run, it was 23-11 at one point. They were outscoring the Magic at that point. They had a 51-46 lead. Scoot made a beautiful three-pointer to make it 56-46, a 10-point lead. They were outscoring them at that point 28-11 in the quarter, and the Magic had to call a timeout to try to stop the bleeding, but they couldn't. The Blazers ended up with the 62-53 lead at halftime. Okay, then they opened up the third quarter on an 11-4 run. They extend the lead to 73-57, and it's just bucket after bucket after bucket. They outscored them in the third 29-20. They outscored them in the fourth 28-17, and then they grabbed the 119-90 victory. I'm going to look at the box score here, but before I do, let me remind you that if you want to join in on the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go on to youtube.com and type in Rip City Radio and get in on the conversation. Where shout out to Reese, who says he's tuning in all the way from Darwin, Australia. That is a thing of beauty. That is beautiful. Thank you for that. Yeah, right? Beautiful.
Dedication, Chris. I remember in college there was a time when I'd do like a broadcast and we'd have people listening in like Japan or something like that. So that's pretty cool. That's as far as you can get, I think, from Oregon, Chris.
Yeah, we need a Rip City Radio worldwide, wide. But we're having fun now. All right, now let's look at that box score we were talking about. Franz Wagner, he had 24 points. He also had 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 21 points from Paulo Banchero, 10 of 23 from the floor. But, man, you go back and watch this game, and he was struggling anytime Toumani Camara was on him. And at one point, the Magic were basically going to an offense that was get the ball to whoever is not guarded by Toumani Camara. And Paulo Banchero might have Toumani Camara in his nightmares because Paulo Banchero went up for a baseline jam. He got up, let me tell you what, and he was going to absolutely detonate on that rim. Might have blown the roof off of Moda Center with the ferocity he was about to dunk with, until Toumani Camara met him at the apex of the jump and just stuffed the block attempt. I mean, just a beautiful block. They don't make him any better than that. He was not afraid of the contact, not afraid of anything. It was just incredible. I mean, the defense was great. So Paulo Banchero might have nightmares of Toumani Camara. What Blazer fans call dreams, Orlando fans will be calling nightmares tonight. So 21 points for Banchero. Goga Batsatse, he had 2 points. Anthony Black had 0 points. He was very effective in letting Toumani Camara get under his skin. And Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he had 4. On the Magic bench, not a lot. Cole Anthony, he had looking down? He had 12 there, 16, excuse me. Wendell Carter had 12. On the Blazers side of things, Denny Avdia, he was plus 16 in the game, but he only had 11 points, did have 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 block shots. So it wasn't the 30-point game that he had against Milwaukee, but he was still effective with everything he did. I still contend that he's the engine that gets this team going. 7 points from Toumani Camara, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 block shots, and his defense, again, absolutely incredible. I told you guys in the pregame show to watch the little things he does to get under people's skins, as Ben Simmons referenced in that Jason Quick article, like the time he was grabbing Ben Simmons' wrist to irritate him, and it worked at the free throw line. There was times he was getting into it with Anthony Black multiple times. At one point, they're both interlocked going down the court, and then like a possession or two later, Anthony Black sets a screen with his wrists up high, boom, gets the offensive foul, and Toumani was doing his job, playing the chess match, the mental chess match. DeAndre Ayton, again, deserves some praise for this one. Another great game, 22 points, 10 of 12 from the floor, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. And again, we were asked about Scoot Henderson early. At 23 points, 7 assists, a couple steals in there as well. He was 3 of 5 from beyond the arc, 17 of 16 from beyond on the floor overall. He was just good. I mean, what else can you say? He was making great passes. The assists were crisp, and he was finding guys cutting on the pick and roll. And, again, defensively, he was good. So you got to give him credit because he played another solid game, and you love to see it. Anthony Simons, he had an off night. He had just 8 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists, 3 of 9 from the floor, but everyone else picked up the slack. Delano Banton had 11 points off the bench. 10 points for Jabari Walker, noted magic killer, as I posted on social, because, man, he just tends to have good games when they play. Donovan Clingan had 0 points. He also had 5 personal fouls. Surprisingly enough, Robert Williams was a healthy scratch in this one. I don't think that's anything to read into. Maybe we'll get some info from Sean Hyken as to what's going on there. I don't think it's meaning that he's being traded or anything. He was just a healthy scratch in this one. But then Shaedon Sharpe, 23 points, and off the bench, bench, which was great, and he continues to answer the call and the challenge that Coach Billups put forth for him. And maybe it's only a matter of time before he gets back into that starting lineup. Regardless, you love to see what went down with the team as a whole because it was absolutely beautiful. I said they needed to win the rebound battle. They did that, 38-33. They forced 13 turnovers. They had 7 steals, the Blazers did. And again, just an all-around good game. Big difference in this one. They shot 48% from beyond the arc. Orlando shot just 19.2. Portland also shot 52.6% to grab the victory tonight, 119-90. Beautiful, beautiful thing. I mean, what else can you say? It was just so nice. It was just so nice. And I wrote this note down here because I knew I'd forget, and I almost did, but here it is. I also thought defensively, the team, I almost lost track of how many 24-second violations there were. I mean, it's just over and over here, 24-second violation. It's like, oh my goodness. Again, defensively, they were getting it locked in. I love when you get the 24-second violation, and you just look over and you just see Tumani Kamara just clapping it up. Like he's just hyped, excited that they're getting the job done and the defense is locked in. And that's a key for him, man. He gets the team going on that end because he takes that spot so seriously. And I think Denny's done a really good job getting him going offensively too. And it's something I've talked about as well. I love Scoot Henderson, the way when he makes a play, someone else makes a shot, he's one of the first guys just clapping. No, I'm not going to wear my Lucky Neon shirt every game, Timmy. I got to do laundry, okay? I can't just wear it all the time. I'm not going to treat this like a baseball player. I got to wear the same socks every day. Superstition. I'm not going to be doing that, my friend. But once again, if you want to join in on the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go over to youtube.com and get in on the chat there where everyone is holding it down and having a good time, man, because guess what? When the Blazers win, we have fun over here on the fifth quarter. We're going to take a little break, though. When we come back, we're going to hit you with our shot of the night and the drive of the night. Still have Coach's Corner to get to and a game ball to hand out. Plenty more coming up here on the fifth quarter, presented by Coors Light on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Alrighty, YouTube, how are things going on here? Got a little commercial break, so I'll come talk to you. There's that shirt that Timmy's talking about, the good luck shirt. I had to hide it though, man. Maybe it's just because it's so cold outside, but it got chilly in this building today. I don't usually get cold. I don't know what's going on there. But taking a look at the chat, Chris says Scoot should start every game from now on, and then RJ chimes in, who should sit to start Sharp? That's the question. Man, that's $1 million question, or maybe the $25 million question, because maybe it's Ant that you got to throw out there. I think Ant has been fairly inconsistent, and I mean, I know he's a great shooter and all, but he has been very, very inconsistent. And Scoot's been playing incredibly well right now. And mix it up and figure out what you got. I don't know what you want to do, but I know people want Shea to start. I think right now though he's doing fine coming off the bench. He's getting the points there. I still think that if Chauncey wants him to play defense, which is why he got benched, he still needs to get that a little better. I did notice today though that he was more focused on that end, which you like to see, and Coach definitely picked up on that. So you enjoy the fact that he's listening and he's learning from this experience. But yeah, those are the I can understand why you want him to start, but also RJ, yeah, who sits? That's a really good question. What do you know? What else you got? Chris says if you wear the same socks every day, inevitably you will get athlete's foot. Trust me. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. But you know how baseball players are. That was the reference I made. Nope, can't gotta. I I took a left instead of a right out of my neighborhood today, and we won. So now I gotta take a left every single time. I know my baseball coach parked in the same spot at school every day, and if he got to work or got to school and the spot was taken, it would ruin his day. Baseball players are weird. Baseball players, they're weird. They're weird. Let's see what else we got here. Sorry, looking at the chat for a sec, bouncing around. But no, Kobe says Denny only got 25 minutes. Only reason I can think of is that Chauncey wanted to save him if they came back, but he shouldn't be playing less than 30. I think in this one, Kobe, I think it came into the fact that the Blazers they went big a few times, and then I mean, Jabari got pretty good run tonight, right? And that helped because Denny was, playing that forward spot. And so you gave Jabari 20 minutes tonight, and he deserved it because, granted, Donovan got into some trouble too, but Jabari played incredibly well. And I think you look at the situation, quite frankly, Denny has had a lot of games where he's played a lot of minutes, and with the way this game was shaping out, I think you could afford to sit him back just a little bit and not worry about it. I mean, he played 38 minutes in that win against the Milwaukee Bucks, right? And so again, I think if you get into a situation where it's okay for you to maybe take a guy who's been playing a lot of minutes because he also played 38 minutes in that loss to OKC. It was a close game, but the way things are going down, you look at that, you're like, okay, you're playing well. Scoot's playing well. Everyone else is taking care of what we need right now. We have a pretty comfortable lead throughout this game because the Blazers were leading big for most of that game. You can get away with taking him and say, okay, we can afford for you to go take that rest a little bit, right? You don't have to play a ton in the fourth quarter, which he's been a fourth quarter player, but you're up by 20, 30 points for large chunks of that fourth quarter. So it absolutely makes sense. Thank you. It absolutely makes sense that you would be able to sit him in this situation. I don't think it was necessarily for preparing for a comeback or anything. I think it was just situationally it made sense, and so you take advantage of it. Anyway, we'll be right back on radio here in just a sec. Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Blazers grab a 119-90 victory over the Orlando Magic tonight. A thing of beauty. Everybody played well, and this team kind of showed what they can do when everything's clicking. You absolutely love to see it, man. You love to see it. That's two home games in a row. Yeah, two in a row. 3 of the last 4 where, helping run some social stuff for Rip City Radio. I got to take my phone and point it up to the rafters and wait for the confetti to pop. Boom, streamers are coming. You love to see it, man. You love to see it. If you want to join in the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and get in on the chat as well. Where a good question we just got there was from Maurice, and that's talking about Matisse Thybulle. Right, and it's a good question. I also get why he asked that question. Right, tuning in all the way from Australia, you want to know about your native son, Matisse Thybulle. I actually think Matisse is progressing, of course, to everything that I've heard about that. I do think that you're looking at a situation, I think maybe post All-Star break, because that gives you a little more time to get everything ramped up. The last update we got was that things were progressing well and he would be reevaluated in 2 weeks. That was roughly 2 weeks ago. So I would expect him to be coming. Now, people are like, wow, my gosh, ankle sprains don't take this long. I mean, if you have a high ankle sprain, which he had a very, very bad ankle sprain, those can take months. I mean, the original timeline was, 6, 8 weeks or something like that. So that right there is a few months, and they can go longer, right? That's a very, basically, sometimes, I mean, you can get as close to, breaking that bad boy and snapping things without quite doing it. And there's a lot of pain to get through. So that seems like the situation. That's everything that we heard coming from that. So I would expect that you see him after All-Star break unless there's a setback. But if everything is progressing as it should, then yeah, I would definitely say the post All-Star break is Matisse Thybulle territory, which it's interesting. He's not getting a lot of talk in the trade talks, but if he comes back healthy and he's still a part of this team, I mean, I could see where you want to keep him, right? Because if you pair him with Toumani Camara and the defense he's playing and Denny Avdia, then you got a really good lineup there. And you don't have to play him at the same time. I mean, Tease can come off the bench. He's done that in his career for quite some time. And you can have him coming up. He replaces Toumani, and you got a rotation of forwards who can just play lockdown defense. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, but it's gonna, even when he does come back, it's gonna take absolutely a ton of time for him to reacclimate. He's missed so much basketball, but yeah, that's the timeline on him, and we'll see. We'll see. Han says, "Whose minutes would he take?" Well, I don't know who has guaranteed minutes on this team anymore. Han, I scratch my head all the time. I mean, Donovan Clingan gets 10 minutes, and he gets 20 minutes. Robert Williams plays, and he doesn't play. I mean, it's all a head scratcher. And of course, I think there would be some other moves. Hopefully, at the deadline, gonna start moving some things, shaking some things up, having some fun. But regardless, man, it's a good thing to have if you have a couple defensive forwards that can go have some fun. So we'll see what happens. But that's where I'm thinking they're going with that one, Reese. So thanks for the question. If you have any other questions you want to get answered, youtube.com, go type them in there, and we'll get to them. And, of course, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. Now, I want to go back to something we talked about in the pregame show. And in the pregame show, I was talking a lot about Toumani Camara, right? And how Jason Quick wrote a very, very good article over at The Athletic. So I highly recommend going over there and reading it. But it was about how teams are starting to notice him, right? How, maybe people don't know his name, but by the time they play him, he makes them know who he is. Case in point, Jamal Murray, he was asked about him after the game Denver played here when Portland upset him, and he was asked explicitly about the defense of Toumani Camara. He's like, who? Oh, do you mean number 33? Like, he was just number 33 to him. And I know, some people are like, oh, the disrespect. But we're talking about a guy who's in the halfway through year 2 in the league. There's a lot of players in this league that I think a lot of players in the league don't know, quite frankly. And so he knew who he was by the end of that. But Jason interviewed a bunch of people. He interviewed Jeremy Sohan. He interviewed Ben Simmons, right? And Norman Powell was in there. And, everyone was just talking about the tenacity that he brings defensively. And then if you heard Damian Lillard's post-game press conference over the weekend, same thing. He was talking about, or on Tuesday, he was talking about the same thing. He's just so good. He's so good. I think the quote exactly was, "I'm guarded by the top perimeter defenders in the league, and he's on the top of that list, or near the top of that list." Like Damian Lillard, who we saw here firsthand in Portland, how teams would defend him, right? They would send their best at him constantly. So he knows what a good defender looks like. And he puts Toumani Camara near the top of the list of wing defenders who have to go after him. And he's incredible, right? Incredible because of the way he's so big and can guard multiple positions. And, like people were talking on social media all night and in the chat and all that about, Banchero's going to know who he is after the game, right? After that absolutely just incredible block shot. I mean, incredible block shot. I mean, that Paulo was about to hit one of those deflator dunks, right? A dunk that takes the wind out of the sails of the opposing team, and all of a sudden your ship is the one that's cruising because you just took momentum. Boom. He was about to unload one of those, and Toumani said, not happening. Met him at the rim, stuffed it. Right? And he did the same thing against Norman Powell. Norman Powell gets the pick from Zubox. Shaden Sharp gets tied up. Toumani's guarding Harden out on the wing. He leaves him. He sees Norm going around the pick and has an open lane. Norm thinks he has an open lane and is about to do the same thing. Just lift off, smash it home. Toumani left his assignment on purpose, closes all that ground, meets him at the rim, block shot. Norm didn't see it coming. And Norm talked about it in that article from Jason Quick. So again, I highly recommend going and reading it, and it was good. It was really good. And then you get Damian Lillard talking about him as well. And then you get games like tonight. I mean, he had Banchero working. I would love to go find some audio of what Banchero had to say post-game, because I'm sure he was probably asked about it. Probably asked about that block specifically, because it was beautiful. And so you just love the way that he goes out there and creates that defensive intensity, and then everybody feeds off of it. Because tonight I thought everyone played well. I thought Scoot played good defensively. I thought Shaden had a better defensive game than he's had in a while. I thought Ayton was great. I mean, there was a moment there, I think it was like third quarter, where Gary Harris was on Scoot Henderson in the corner. Gary Harris makes a little move, gets Scoot twisted up, because Scoot doesn't know if he's going to switch on him or not, because Gary kind of goes around this off-ball pick. And Scoot doesn't know if he and Shea are going to switch. And so he leans into Sharp's defender, thinking Sharp's going to switch with him. They don't switch. Scoot gets back on Harris, who's cutting on baseline, and he's behind him. It's a wide-open pass, going to be an easy layup. I think Banchero might have been the one throwing the pass, and he has Ayton on him. Pass goes up. Ayton jumps up, gets a hand on the ball, deflects it, saves an easy bucket. Right? And it's just little things like that the team did tonight that you absolutely love to see, is when everyone's playing well, everyone's clicking, protecting each other, and it's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty. Like I posted on social, man. This is way too fun to give a darn about the tank. Just enjoy it for what it is, man. Enjoy it for what it is. Just some beautiful basketball at the moment. Right? Now, this thing is probably going to, have its ebbs and flows still. That's something Coach Billups said after the game, right? That this team is still young. They're still learning. And so you understand that they're still going to have moments in this season where they have their ups and downs. But when they're having ups like this, it's just important, and it's great to see. And I also think, quite honestly, fans and listeners, that you look at the importance of winning and the importance of playing together, right? And that's why I've always talked about being anti-team tank. I am not a fan of the tanking situation. I don't like it. I think there's something to be had with winning ball games, right? And the team is doing that right now, and you're seeing the team show off a little bit. You're seeing the team have fun. And I know that sounds cliche, but how many times have you seen, another loss, the 40-point losses, they come in, they get knocked out of their own gym, and it's just everyone just on the bench. Man, what are we doing? This sucks. Then you go talk to Coach, and Coach is pissed, and he's talking about lack of focus and lack of energy, and didn't like their spirit. We have seen those games. We know what that feels like. This is a feels like a different Blazer team right now. And I think it's interesting too when you look at how they've talked in post-game pressers and stuff about, DeAndre Ayton said multiple, when you're playing for each other, good things happen, right? And Denny's talked about having fun. He said it in the post-game presser with the Bucks about, it's just, I'm out there trying to have fun for the guys. It's what the you can't see me thing. It's fun, right? And so the teams playing loose, they're playing free, and it leads to good basketball. They're still going to lose. They're still going to get into a point where they, may get into the lottery. But man, I don't know if there's too much to worry about. Too much to worry about. Now it's as people are saying, like, well, what about? But imagine a top 3 pick playing with this guys, filling out the arena every night. But at some point too, that's why my take has always been anti-tank, because if the team can start to turn the corner and work together, then you have a good team that you can build with. It doesn't have to be, we've got to bring another guy in. You can still bring another guy in. I'm not saying, okay, the draft is don't worry about it and everything's done. But there's something said about building and knowing what it means to win. And this little stretch where they've won 6 or 7, it may be against Phoenix on Saturday. It comes to a screeching halt. But at least this 6 or 7 games, and quite frankly, this whole 7-game stretch, the team I think definitely learned something about themselves, which is good moving forward. And then when if you go add that guy. You go add that 3rd overall pick or whatever it is, then you're in a good spot because you learned something, man. You learned something. And when it comes to the lottery, you don't necessarily have to finish. You don't necessarily have to finish in the top 3 or number 1 to get a top pick, right? I got to find my stats here, but I did some math years and years ago, built this little Excel sheet. I try to keep it handy. But as I said on the show before, if you're paying attention, that since 1985, which is far back because I was able to go back, and you got all your lottery info, right? Is that the teams that entered lottery night in the 1, 2, and 3 spot have only exited lottery night with the top 3 picks twice in that time span. So getting into the lottery is not even guaranteed that's going to, or getting into the top odds. Having the worst record is not even guaranteed. You look at what happened last year. Atlanta was 10th best odds, air quotes, to get in the number 1 pick, and they got it. Team that got the 3rd pick, they had the 9th best odds. 2016, the teams that started 1, 2, and 3 ended 1, 2, and 3. And in 1996, the teams that ended 2, 3, 1 ended 2, 3, 1. All right? And you go through these numbers, ironically enough, the teams that end in the top 3 most often, if you have the number 1 overall, chances you have ended in the top 3 28 times in that time span. And more often than not, you finish with the 2nd overall pick. In that time span, the team with the number 1 odds has got the 1st pick 8 times, the 2nd pick 12 times, and the 3rd pick 8 times. But you can go down the list. The 11th spot has got the 1st pick once. The 10th spot has got the 1st pick once. 9th and 8th have each got the 1st pick twice. 7 and 6 and 4 have each got it 3 times. 5 and 2 have got it 4 times. And ironically enough, you want to know the spot that has ended with the 1st overall pick more so than any other? 3. Team who went into the draft night with the 3rd best odds has ended with the 1st pick 9 times. So a little bit of math for you. So again, the way the whole lottery works out, you never know. Things can buoy themselves. If you're in there, you're good. But you also have some picks here right now that I think people are starting to like. Toumani Camara was a 2nd-round pick, remember? And here he is just absolutely turning heads. And again, I've said it a few times already tonight, but file it all under. You love to see it. I understand when people want capture the flag, people want to tank, and this team is still going to find ways to, lose some games. I don't think I'm not jumping on the everything is good, everything is great. This team's going to rattle off 11 straight, and it's play-ins, baby. It's play-ins. Come on, play in, and all you need's a chip in a chair, right? All you need is a chip in a chair, and they're well on their way. No, I'm not there yet. But again, for what this little stretch of games has been in winning this 6 of 7, I'm gonna take it. Because it feels good. right? It feels good. Now, no one's going to catch up to Washington. Utah might not be able to catch up. They've lost 8 in a row. But Portland, they're gonna be okay. They're gonna be okay. Toronto's doing some work for them, trying to catch some ground too. All of a sudden, trying to win games. So don't worry, I'm not worried. All I know at the end of the day, fans, games like this, I love. It's just fun to watch, man. It's just fun to watch. And as I pointed out, I want to point this one out because I thought this was great, and this is true. The kid in front of us in the media row, this is what I tweeted during the game, hasn't sat down the entire game. Hyped for every bucket, hyped for every board, hyped for every stop. A reminder that no matter the win-loss record, this is what it's all about. And I'm not joking. That kid did not sit down the entire game. And he had a Rib City towel in his hand, and it hit me a few times. He was waving it with such ferocity, and I didn't even care because I was living in the moment with him. Sometimes when you can look through the world through the kids' eyes, I have 3 beautiful kids at home, and when you can look through the world through their eyes and understand how special it is to be a fan of a team, it's kind of nice to do. So again, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Tanking and winning and whatever, it all comes back down to that. The love for the Blazers. And on a night like tonight, you can absolutely love the Blazers. Because boy howdy, did they play one hell of a basketball game. This is the 5th quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go over to youtube.com and type in Rip City Radio. I was going to go to break, but I see we have a caller, and you know what? Pat from Hermiston. Pat, welcome into the 5th quarter. I'm doing you a solid. I'm not going to cut to commercial just yet. I don't want you to wait. I want you to get on the show and talk hoop with me, buddy. So welcome into the 5th quarter. What do you got?
Well, winning is a lot more fun than losing, that's for sure. 2 points I want to make. This coaching staff took a lot of criticism for developing players, and I think that this just shows developing 19-year-olds is not easy. You know, and they're playing against grown dollar sign men, you know, and it takes a bit. And they're playing against the best players in the world. The second thing, you know, everybody wants to take the easy way and get the top 1, 2, or 3 pick, but, you know, Clyde Drexler, I think he was picked like 12th or 14th. You know, Jokic was way back, and even on our own team, Tamani, how far back he was, Lingen at 7 appears to be pretty good. You know, we got a number 1 pick on the team right now, DeAndre Ayton, and, you know, that wasn't a guarantee. And I actually kind of like DeAndre, but, you know, we've put together a scouting crew that this stretch kind of shows they are good at identifying talent. So we might be able to find those guys without that top pick. And like you said, you know, Atlanta, 10th best record, boom, they get that top pick. So, but anyways, that's kind of some of my comments.
Well, Pat, I appreciate the call in, man, and those are good comments. And by the way, Clyde Drexler was not the 12th pick; he was the 14th pick. And I'm only telling you that to further your point, man. You don't have to be number 1 just to guarantee that you get something special, right? It's so easy to believe the hoopla, right? That this is capture the flag season, and Cooper Flagg is the only player in this draft that has the ability to change a franchise. If that were the fact, that only one player every single draft had the ability to change a franchise, this would be a pretty dismal league, man. It'd be a pretty dismal league. You never know what you're going to get. Tumani Kamara, a second-round pick. Like you said, Nikola Jokic was drafted famously during a Taco Bell commercial in the second round. That's how little fanfare he came into the league with. Draymond Green, second-round pick, right? You never know. You never know. So you just got to get into the draft, see what happens, and you never know who can come in and absolutely change the trajectory of everything. Okay? I mean, let's just be completely honest with ourselves for a second, Blazer fans. I want to point out something, okay? I want to go back to the year 2012, right? Anthony Davis was the consensus number 1 overall pick. Everybody was leaning in on AD. Great year with Kentucky. He's versatile, both ends of the floor. Wonderful. Some dude in Florida also got a pretty good hype train, Bradley Beal, right? There was some little dude in Weber State that nobody was really talking about because he wasn't coming from any of those big schools. He wasn't coming from Duke or Kentucky or Florida, right? Or Louisville or Syracuse. No. He was coming from Weber State. And he got drafted 6th overall. Wasn't 1, wasn't 2, wasn't 3. 6th overall. That dude changed a franchise. And you guys love him. You don't like that he's wearing a Bucks jersey now, and the things changed late in his career. But boy, for a decade, he was the face of your franchise and had this team in the playoffs every single year, and he kind of did it from day one. So you just never know. So if you can take these wins like it was today, and you're still going to end up in the lottery, like you're not playing yourself out of this bad boy yet, you take it. The wins are fun, just like Pat said. Winning's fun, man. Winning is absolutely fun. Now, we can break down analytically how whatever it works and Cooper flag this, and I get that. I totally get that. I will point out right now, I'm not poo-pooing anybody who's on Team Tank or anyone who's like, oh, the draft odds this and what could I get it because we all fan a little bit different. But again, go back to that kid for a second because at the end of the day, that kid, I don't think he really cared if the Blazers won or lost. He was living in the moment, and boy, howdy, was he enjoying it. Sometimes it's you got to just remember what made you a fan in the first place, right? What made you a fan in the first place? I remember when the Red Sox won the World Series famously in 2004. 3 nights in October. Great 30 for 30. And I was a Red Sox fan. Major Red Sox fan. My girlfriend at the time, who I've now been married to and been together with for, over half my life, she's a Yankee fan. We battled in sports and it's fun. Man, when the Red Sox won, it was joyous. And you guys know I famously on this show, I was a drum major at the University of Oregon, conducted the band, right? And when I went to try out for that, they asked me, you obviously like music, but are you a sports fan? And I said, oh, I am. And they're like, how big of a sports fan are you? Can you prove it? Like, what's a story that just exemplifies how big of a sports fan you are? I'm like, yeah, well, a couple of years ago when the Red Sox won the World Series, they're like, yeah. I'm like, I cried. I was in my living room crying. Because, again, I don't care. Pick on me all you want. But there's just fandom's fun, man. And it strikes you special. And that's why wins like this are fun. And for that kid, it was special. For a lot of Blazer fans, it was special. And in the end of the day, you might not care about what happened against the Orlando Magic on January 30th, 2025. But today it was awesome, man. Take it in and enjoy it. What happens in the lottery will happen. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But today, it was pretty awesome. We're going to take a quick break here, though, on the 5th quarter. When we come back, it's going to be time for the Coach's Corner. We're going to head down to the press row, hear what Coach Billups had to say, hand out a game ball, and then get out of here, man. It's getting late because we're having way too much fun. Way too much fun. I am Chris Burkhardt. You can follow me on social at Chris J. Burkhardt. You can also follow my producer, Brenden Slaughter, at B_Slot. He's doing a great job back there at the studio, and you guys should definitely give him some love. This is the 5th quarter, presented by Coors Light on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, YouTube, we're on a break, so let's no problem. Let's talk to you for a second. Shout out to Timmy Hammock, man. He's time to work. See you later. He does. He works the late night shift. So could you imagine if you're like, say you didn't work the late night shift, okay? You just work a standard 9 to 5, okay? This is my fun job. My office job is also super fun, but this is not an office job here. I'm yakking all day long. I just keep my mouth shut at the other one. But that's a 8 to 4, whatever the hours are. Could you imagine if you had to be to work at 8 o'clock in the morning, but you woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning to go to a Blazer game at 3 in the morning, so you could watch a Blazer game and then get to work on time? That's what Timmy's doing. That's some dedication, my man. That is some dedication. Trying to catch up here. Portland Trailblazers haven't had the best with number 1 or number 2 picks anyway. Hey, Rick, you're not too far off. Let's say Chris says, I go back and forth, Rip City Radio. I have two gut feelings as well. What are the gut feelings? Oh, Jazz wish Ainge will put on amazing tank only to slide back. Just a gut feeling. Okay, I see where we're going there. I get Rudy was offsides. You guys are. Chris says no sarcasm. Seriously, I think there's plenty of good players that could help the Blazers. Crap, Burkhardt speaks. Oh, thank you. Faster than I can respond. I get it. But you're right, Chris. Like that's the thing. Like the media hoopla makes you think that it's only a Cooper Flag draft and nothing else, right? And then you can look at the Scoot Henderson draft. Scoot Henderson's starting to play pretty good right now. Maybe not the hype of a number 3 pick, but he's absolutely starting to play pretty well. Then you had Victor Wembanyama, who everyone was talking about, once in a lifetime, but then every single draft, oh, Cooper Flag's generational. Well, I thought Wemby was generational. You new generation 2 years later? That's not how that works, right? But you look at the Scoot Henderson draft, and you have Brandon Miller, who's starting to play pretty darn good. You have the Thompson brothers, who are all right. Anthony Blacksad is up and down, but he's shown some flair. Kassan Wallace is getting on the Rising Star team and is a massive contributor to the Oklahoma City Thunder team, right? And that's a guy who was taken 10th overall. You can see exactly what Dallas has in the growth of Derek Lively. He's a pretty darn good player, right? And he was taken 12th overall. I know the Miami fans love Jaime Jaquez Jr. He was taken 18th. Keontae George has had some pretty good games. He's sitting there at 16th. He's not an all-star or anything, but you understand what I'm getting at, right? You can go down, and there's good players throughout these drafts. There's also a lot of misses in the middle, at the back, and at the top end. So you just kind of never know where you're going to go with it, but you can find players. And even the 2023 draft, it's way too early to really look at that and start to pick it apart to understand who the best players are in that particular draft, right? But then let's go to 2022, okay? Paulo went number 1 overall. He's been great. Chet Holmgren sits for a minute hurt, but when he's healthy, he's been great. You have Jabari Smith, who's had his up and down, but Keegan Murray came on the scene. Ben Matherin's good. Dyson Daniels has been great. Jeremy Sohan there at number 9. Yeah, people know about him. Jalen Williams, who's an all-star reserve this year, representing Oklahoma City in the West, was taken 12th overall, right? So, again, there's people there. I mean, you look at that draft. There's some names that are making impacts around the league on different teams. Mark Williams has had some really good run as of late with the Hornets, right? Jalen Duren can do some things here and there where he plays, depending if where you're putting him. Obviously, Walker Kessler was taken 22nd overall and just came boom into the league as a knockdown defender, right? So Nikola Jovic was 27th, and he's showing that there might be something there to round in the form. So it just goes back to that overall topic of there's depths in these drafts. It's never just a one-player draft and nothing else. But we can believe the media hoopla, right? Nope, it's Cooper Flag and nobody else in this draft. So if you get the 7th overall pick, you are screwed. I get you want Cooper Flag, but there's someone in that draft as well. And I do think the Blazers will do a good job when it comes to that draft, because Pat and Hermiston was talking about the coaching staff and the scouters. And I think the scouting staff's done a pretty good job. They knew that there was something special in Tamani Kamara. That's why they wanted him thrown in that trade, right? So we'll see how that goes. Again, I understand. I totally understand the tanking. I get it. I'm just going on the other side of that. See, Jason's sipping the Kool-Aid. I love it. Get overhyped, but at least you're having fun. Like, do it, make the play, and who cares? How much longer we got, Brenden? Perfect. All right, YouTube. I got. Yeah, and you don't need to play the whole thing.
come out and fight. We just played them not too long ago.
So do you want me to go like halfway? Is there a rough spot for how much you want to play?
But it jumped out 10-0 on us. Called timeout. Our guys started to play a little bit better, but in the start of the second quarter.
Fair enough. I forget where that is, but fair enough.
It's towards the end, but you can cut it after that.
I changed up the rotation a little bit.
Cool.
Didn't think I would go in the game, or at least that early.
And then just go straight into the game ball.
And we turned it around, and
cool. I'll listen for it.
Yeah. And if you want to cut before that, man, you're fine too. I'm not that egotistical.
What Jabari gave you tonight?
Well, I mean, we got to hear Danny at least 3-4 times. So,
It's a really big team, and he was incredible against them in Orlando. And so I knew that, he would be the same for us today. He played the backup 5 in Orlando. We didn't need him to play the 5 today. It was a 4. But his defense, too. I thought he guarded Paulo very well, and a lot of ISOs. They ISO a ton. But his rebound, we needed everything he does. Barry's so competitive, so tough. He's always ready. I'm just proud of him.
Chauncey, that first half, Tamani was everywhere. It seemed like in the second half, Orlando's offense basically tried to go wherever he was. Where can two get to defensively?
Well, I mean, I think that he can keep climbing. I mean, he's still new to this. And, I kept moving him around today in the game, especially having no Jeremy. I put him on Paulo and Franz, and Franz started going. I put him in pressure. I put him everywhere. Went small, put him. I just put him everywhere. His ceiling, we don't know what it could be. Defensively, he wants to be the best in the world. He really does. He took 2 charges in the first half, didn't get either one of them. And I'm on these reps all the time saying he's the best in the league. Like how? Because he's the best. He really is. I mean, he leads the league at it. So, we don't know what his level, could stop at, but we won't know because he's going to continue. He will continue to get better and better and better.
You talk often about loud plays. How loud were his 2 blocks?
Oh, man. That's one other play I was so mad at, the one block, and then, boom, he comes down, we turn it over, and he has an incredible vertical play that they call an and one on. I was so mad about that. But then the next block, too, just incredible. It really was both really, really loud. Those are almost like, when he does that, it's almost like a 4-point play, for our team. And it just energizes us like crazy. It just encourages everybody to play that hard. If not, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb and be watching the game.
I haven't seen a lot of emotion from Shaden, but he got into it a little bit with Goga.
Mm-hmm.
Does that kind of get you a little excited when you see him getting intense like that? And
I love it. I want somebody to get into it with Shaden every game. We need it. He needs it. Every time he gets upset out there, it's happened another time. I think it was Dylan Brooks at one time this year. Every time it happens, it takes him to another level, So I love a mad Shaden. We're best like that.
Scoot seemed to be completely in control tonight.
Someone's going to ask about Scott.
Of whatever he wanted,
Yeah.
Of whatever he wanted to do. I mean, his pace, his decision making, not forcing anything, and then forcing some things. Was that a pretty masterful performance in your estimation? Maybe not masterful, but pretty.
I really did. I thought Scoot was excellent the entire night. I thought he picked his spots very well. I talked about it before in the pregame presser. Just needing his intention to get to that basket was going to be huge against such an elite defensive team. And I just thought he picked his spots great, He knocked down his shots, but his playmaking was good. His defense was good. He was scrappy out there. He was good. It was just a great floor game the entire way through for Scoot.
Coach, Denny gets the end ones and he does the Cena thing. The bench does it back.
Who's this guy?
As the Euro, you look over the bench, everyone's
like he knows what
mimicking
he's
it, just
talking
having fun. Feels like this.
He does. But you want me to cut it after this response?
How important is that to this run?
Man, it's taken a while, for us to get to this point.
Cool.
You just see us so connected out there, so connected. And I think all of y'all know that have been here with me. I've always said the whole time I want to be the team that nobody likes to play against. You know, nobody wants to play against a team that plays hard, plays together. They're so happy for one another. You know, they play for each other on both sides of the ball. And that's just kind of what you're seeing right now, you know. So I'm just proud of them. You know, I think it comes over time. You never know when it will come. And I said it before, too. You know, we'll still be up and down most of the season. We're still young. But I want our guys to just know what it feels like when we're doing it the right way, you know. But it's a long season. And I'm just proud of our dudes, man. And I just take this thing one game at a time.
All right. There you hear Coach. Brenden, go right into game ball. Let's do it.
Who is the
Shout out to Brenden for being always ready, because I told him, hey, when coach is done, just go ahead and play game ball. And then I just got excited and turned my mic on and started talking. And he just rolled with it. He just rolled with it. So thank you, Brenden. But it is time now to pass out a game ball. And you know what? It's really easy to look at some of the things from the scoring perspective. 22 for Ayton, 23 for Scoot. I thought Ayton was solid. Sharp was good. I mean, Ayton's right there. He's in contention. But if I'm handing out a game ball tonight, I'm giving it to Tamani Kamara. I think the way he played defensively absolutely changed this game. And I think it got the team up. I think it got the team locked in. And I think it got him ready to roll. It absolutely got him ready to roll. So I'm giving my game ball to Tamani tonight. That block on Bencaro, I mean, that's if you've ever been in the hallway leading up to the Blazer locker room, they have like Dame's bad shot, and they have the .9 shot. They have like all the historical. Just you need to put that block on Bencaro over there. I want to see Tamani get hyped because he gets to see that every single night he walks into the locker room. So it was a thing of beauty, an absolute thing of beauty. All right, that is going to do it for tonight, though. You guys have been absolutely awesome. What a game. What a game. Blazers hold home court and get a 119-90 victory over the Orlando Magic. That's right. You heard that right. A darn near 30-point win. Start to finish, basically locked in. Granted, first quarter had some bumpies, had some bumps, but boy howdy did they lock it in, especially in that second quarter, and then run away with this one. You gotta love it. Again, we'll see where the tank goes. I gave you guys my numbers. You know how the lottery shakes out. Just remember, it goes deeper than Cooper Flag. There's stars all the way through it. It's just about finding the right ones. But man, at the end of the day, winning's fun. Winning's fun. And again, it might come to a screeching halt on Saturday, but enjoy it for what it is right now. 6 of your last 7 dubs, and then a game against the Thunder, the best team in the NBA that you only lost by 10, and you hung with them. These are learning moments, and it's a thing of beauty. And speaking of the Suns, that's when the Blazers will be back at it on Saturday against the Phoenix Suns. 7 p.m. tip-off, so I will have game day for you at 5 o'clock. Until then, Rip City, to everyone in the chat, to everyone who called in. I mean, Pat and Hermiston, that's dedication. We had a listener from Hermiston and Australia today. We are growing, baby. I appreciate all of you. You are so awesome to me every single night, especially when the Blazers are awesome to all of us. A 119-90 victory over the Magic. Rip City, I will talk to you on Saturday.